Welcome back to another episode of Go to Realtors and Investment Realtors podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Our weekly video is upon us yet again. We try and bring some value and some fun, keep
Which we
everything
do.
light. Yeah,
We definitely do.
I mean, if anything, if nobody likes what we're doing here, we like it, and that's all that matters.
We got to make ourselves happy first,
Absolutely,
and then we can worry about making other people happy.
absolutely. So, what would we consider today's topic? We're gonna kind of go like a blast down memory lane
Yeah.
and kind of like our first year in real estate now that we're on year 5.
Blast from the past, learning experiences.
Yeah, what we didn't know, because like we always joke, what you don't know, you don't know.
I don't know what I don't know.
No. And there are a few things we've definitely learned, and we're not scared to admit some, I guess,
Yeah.
wrongs, or just not wrongs because we haven't hurt anybody, but things we didn't know.
Funny
just
stuff.
inexperience. And I guess it's like what everybody says. I mean, your stripes in and you're putting your time in, you learn, get into the groove of things. So I mean,
You got to pay your dues, man. There's no way around it.
no. So I guess year 1, what would you say from year 1 to now on year 5 was kind of the biggest learning curve that we've faced in our real estate career?
Well, I mean, I guess if you remember when we first started,
Yeah, 2018.
2018,
After the high,
we were kind of like,
young and naive.
we were definitely young and naive,
Okay.
but we thought we knew everything because we've
Yep.
like obviously lived in a house our whole life. We've
course.
done like renos and projects, and
Yes.
we worked like different construction jobs and whatever. But just I still remember the first time we went into a home evaluation,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole drive up, we actually had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like we would print off just full CMA reports, which was basically just a like a big spreadsheet and like evaluation of properties.
That you're only supposed to do really for that specific client or when you're doing a home evaluation.
Yeah.
Whereas when we were door knocking,
The door knocking one was bad. So okay, so before we get into that one, okay,
Yes.
our first basic run-in with real estate would be our door knocking.
Yes.
So when we started door knocking, instead of just doing flyers or
Door hangers.
or postcards or
Just trying to introduce ourselves. We
business cards,
kind of went above and beyond.
we literally printed, what was it, like 50
It was
copies of
ridiculous.
20 or 30 pages worth of just info on properties.
And that was one street.
one street,
We joke. We've pretty much door knocked
our entire area.
our entire area, and
Yeah.
that's not including the surrounding areas like Tottenham, Allison, and all of those fun areas.
Yeah.
But what, like, I guess our inexperience really did show. I mean, anyone could argue at least we were hungry for it. We're dedicated
We tried.
to helping people. I guess it's just, talking with our mentors now and kind of figuring out being on a team.
Yeah.
The approach, I mean, A+ for effort, but the execution was our inexperience showed.
Well, I could only imagine the people. Remember that only one person our first day answered the door,
Yes.
and when we handed her the entire
like
folder,
novel, not even
Yeah,
folder, the novel. Yeah, here's our autobiography. She's like, "What's this?"
Yeah, we're like, well, take some time, like thumb through it a bit, see
sift
what you
through it.
think.
Read all this real estate jargon, and if you have any questions, we'll try and figure out what it means.
We had no idea. Honestly, I don't even think we knew what was in there and what half that stuff was. It was like graphs and stats and all the houses that listed that entire area for the last 5 years, all on like a nice little spreadsheet, had that opening letter that we wrote. So, I mean, it was a lot of stuff. Nobody read it. We folded it up, put it on everybody's door who didn't answer, right?
Yeah.
So just from there, and just the first person that answered the door, we didn't know what to say. We didn't know how to talk. We didn't have any experience in getting like, what's the first couple steps of listing your house? We had no idea.
Yeah, that's fair.
We never done it. Now I feel like
shoot it off like boom,
we know.
step 1, step 2, step 3.
the experience of just knowing what to do.
Absolutely.
We know.
We were inexperienced, but we were willing to learn, and I think that's what's gotten us so far here. Is because even now we're not, and I don't want to discredit us, but we're not, like the best that there is, but we're on track to being that, especially with the people we put in our corner.
We're definitely on the best team now.
With our mentor, with just the support that we have, and when we don't know an answer, we don't ever try and pretend like we know what we're talking about.
We find
out what it is, even if that might take a while. we always try and do the things properly and in kind of sequence and what it should be.
Yeah.
So we were door knocking, had no idea.
First showing, I remember, actually, I didn't even do my first showing with you.
No.
At the time. I did James Street, remember?
Yeah.
And obviously, it was first time home buyer. We were young. It was somebody our age. And I just remember the dad, the uncle, the girlfriend's uncle, the girlfriend's
killers,
dad.
You mean?
It was just one of those things where everybody came and everybody was putting it together. And being the first time agent, you're
overwhelmed.
You're overwhelmed. You're expected to know everything.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that you get from experience.
Absolutely.
And from seeing multiple. This was the first house I ever saw.
That septic working over there, Junior?
Yeah.
Sorry, what's a septic?
Which one was the septic?
Get a load of this guy over here. Yeah, that's absolutely. It's scary.
Some pumps, figuring out like why the sump pump wasn't working. It's like, well, it's dry. It's like, oh. Yeah, that's right. If there's no water, it's not going to work.
To turn it on. Absolutely.
Right? Just little things like that. Fuse boxes.
Yeah.
Is it 100 amp, 200 amp?
Yeah.
Knob and tube. Which wires are aluminum?
Yeah.
Right? These are things that like you see, like even the effervescence on the walls in the basement when there's moisture.
Absolutely.
Things that nobody, like you don't know what to look for until you start looking for it on a regular basis.
Absolutely. Like even when we took on the first listing, I mean, yeah, we staged it, professional photography, but I mean, really, the other agents they're like sharks. They sense when somebody's new and they try and take advantage, but we kept our ground. We got the most amount of money for the clients, and every deal you just get that much better because not that you have a no tolerance for bullshit, but you're not going to be pushed around and you're looking out for your seller's best interest. And that goes both ways, whether you're on the selling or the buying side. You have to have the mutual respect with the other agent.
Yeah, of course.
You have to...
Yeah, don't go in like shooting your mouth off and thinking you're superior.
Yeah. How many times have we, like recently on the last sale was hilarious. We won't mention any names, but agents thinking that because they were in it longer and they sold some more, that they were just going to tell us what they were going to do and their clients were going to get it. And that didn't happen. Their clients didn't get the property and it sold for more.
Yeah, they lost out on a lot.
We put our pride aside. It's not an ego thing. We like to describe it as it's a movie. We're the narrator.
Yeah.
Our clients are the main character, and we're there to help them, to narrate them through, to guide them.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we really are, man.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So do you remember your first showing? Not your first listing, your first showing.
The first showing would have been probably when we were on the other team, and vaguely, it was more went in with Mr. A.
Yeah,
by him, with him. So it was.
So you didn't do your first showing? Wasn't your first ever showing?
Not
wasn't
solo. No, it was with Mr. A, and it was more of okay, take some notes. What I'm doing, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which was, I guess, good and helpful because then it was oh, okay, being able to see how they go through objections.
Yeah.
What they do, how not that they sweet talk, but at the end of the day, it's a roller coaster. So there's going to be a lot of concern. So what you're supposed to do is kind of put them at ease. Answer any questions they might have and make them understand. And at the end of the day, we always say to our clients, if we wouldn't buy it, we wouldn't let you buy it.
Yeah.
And that's right hand to God. We don't just say that. I mean, if the house is crap, the house is crap. If they still want to buy it after we've explained all of those, it's their money. We're their professional to help guide them. But ultimately, it's their decision. They want to firm up, not firm up, buy it.
Yeah, you don't want to be too salesy. We're not
I don't think we're salesy enough. No, that's the problem.
Well, people see right through it. They know
commission breath.
It's commission breath, which is the worst.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, we all have bills to pay, and it's an income and this, that, and the other. But when you take care of people, people take care of you. And
yeah, that's one thing I think we learned over the years. It's just,
especially on year 5,
you put in the work,
yep,
and you just do you try to do it as best you can, and eventually things just happen.
Absolutely,
things fall into place. I mean, this year so far is a little slow.
Absolutely,
but
everyone's, and not that it's an excuse. It's just you have those buyers that are ready to go, and then you have a lot of other people that still think that with March around the corner, another interest rate. And it's going to be loom and gloom, but I think that those loom and gloom days are going to start to be behind us. And I mean, there's a lot of agents that are no longer doing this that started with us, or got their license in the peak of it, and aren't doing it anymore because it's not fast money. This is a long, slow burn. And if you're in it for the wrong reasons, you're not going to have longevity.
Yeah.
And we've seen that.
Yeah. As soon as it dries up, you're out. I was telling you that article I read in the States.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously a little different than Canada, but a majority of agents are either putting their license on the shelf and getting other jobs, waiting for this like recession type business scenario that's going on right now to kind of subside. And it's happening in Canada too. A lot of one agent, because remember,
absolutely.
I don't know. I remember. Don't quote me on the percentage, but it's like 90% of agents in Ontario do like one deal a year.
Yeah,
that's it. Just one deal a year, and that's 90%. So
absolutely.
All the other 10% does everything. And there's quite a bit of like sales volume that happens in Ontario.
Absolutely.
And that's from 10% of all registered agents.
Yep.
So it's kind of scary.
How many times do we hear from our paisanos, friends, family, I should get my license. It's to print money.
Everybody thinks.
Yeah, they see us doing it. And I mean, at the end of the day, the sky's the limit. Anybody can do anything, but it's not just you're writing a check for your wealth.
It's not what people think.
No.
You don't. No. So we wanted to kind of say just like advice on new starter, people who start off in the business.
Yeah.
And I mean, to go back to the advice we got from our mentors as we started, it was like the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, your sphere.
It sounds derogatory, but it's not. It's just whatever's easier to get near you. So friends, family, and just people you've worked with over the years, people in like your immediate circle.
And on the flip side of that, we can both attest for it, and a lot of agents we know, there has been family and friends that we thought for sure would use us, and not for, I guess, out of an ego thing that it's like, of course they're going to use us. We were told. I mean,
you just assume.
I assume, but then when we've had, those friends and families that have down, I want to use you, and let's get the ball rolling, and then you find out that they given their money to strangers. I mean, it is a little disheartening. But
I always say I don't think any new realtor starting off should rely solely on their family and friends. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, it doesn't matter what nationality, background, whatever, people like to keep like friends and business and family and business separate.
To some degree.
A lot of people.
I think some of it is also just out of malice intent, to be honest.
Of course.
Where, they think that we always joke about it, that they're handing you this check to pay your bills, when meanwhile you're providing a service. And they had no problem using a stranger, and you want to help guide them, and it's not being us sour. This is across the board. People we've talked to.
It happens to everybody. It just is what it is.
If you think you're getting into this because your kumbare chich and your cousin, your sister, your brother, don't rely on that. If you're getting into this, understand that yes, it is a people business. It is still a sales job, even though we don't treat it as a sales. We treat it as helping people, but that you will have to make connections with strangers. You will have to build people's trust, because if somebody doesn't trust you, they're not going to use you.
And to be honest, it's probably easier because we like to use a word. It's an acronym, LRS.
Yeah, lifetime referral system. Yep.
And when you get a client that's not your family, or it could be a friend.
Yes.
But you treat them well.
Absolutely.
You do a good job for them. You do all your follow-ups, you check all your boxes, and you make sure they're happy at the end of the day. They're going to use you again, number one. And number two, most importantly, which we would recommend to starting, you got to get those referrals up.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, you need people to refer you to other people so you could keep that circle going, right?
Well, we've had friends, we've had neighbors that, not that we don't know them a hole in the wall, but essentially are strangers that have been our biggest advocates.
Always.
We've sold their house, bought their house, and then they've known of their friend, coworker needing to buy or sell, and they have been our advocate, and they're like, no, you have to use our agent. And that is the biggest compliment. I mean, with the downside of friends and family that are close to you not using you, when you have strangers that are now become closer to you than your friends or family that would go out on a limb and trust you. I mean, I guess that's the biggest proof.
They used us when they didn't have to, because sometimes you could even feel like your family might use you out of just like, I got to do it because your mom is my mom's sister. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
It's a toughie.
It's a tough one. I would always recommend cultivate outside your sphere first, and then your family and friends. If they're gonna use you, they're gonna use you. You're their friend, and you're their family. You keep up with them on. They know what you're doing. They know you're selling. They know you're in the market.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to try to sell yourself to them.
No.
As much as people say you should.
No, if they're an advocate for you, they know what you're doing, they're going to advocate for you.
Yeah, regardless.
And that's just the reality of it. So, I mean, we still have a lot to learn. I mean, we still have a long time to go.
Yeah.
It's been great. It's been fun. We hope to keep learning, because when you're not learning, then you're stagnant and you think you know everything. And that's when the cookies start to crumble, and not in a good way.
When you're too prideful, man, it's bad.
Absolutely.
You get sloppy.
Absolutely. So I think we could wrap up this one. That one.
It was a quick one. Today was a quick one.
Oh, I think it was like the
quick Monday,
the average time. But yeah, we had some fun. We're gonna get back into some Q&As that have been flooding in the questions and answer portion.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and please comment. Let us know. It's always good to get feedback.
What kind of topics you want to hear us talk about? Do you prefer the more real estate, and do you want us to just mumbo jumbo like we usually do off camera? Tell us.
Talk all day, really, to be honest. So,
absolutely. The gift of gab. All right, guys. So we'll catch you now in the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, guys.